time on Casino Royale with cheese.
Ernest in the Army, that's one of them.
No, I'm not gonna say that.
No. Any Ernest movie I saw in the theater, so I'm good on the Ernest movies.
Oh my god.
You got the whole like Ernest anthology.
I did it one
I
time.
avoid all the Ernest movies
Right.
like it was the plague.
No,
Everybody else is pumped about like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. He's like,
He said
yo,
the
what
first-
Ernest shit's coming out? We've got Hello Legs, Robert Wool. Oh man, I hate that guy.
And now, the conclusion.
Houston, we have a problem.
I have a really bad feeling about this.
A boy's best friend is his mother.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Silent Green is people! Yo, Adrian!
Let's put a smile on that face.
I gotta warn you, Clark. They don't play the same games here as they do at them regular casinos.
Royale, too.
Motherfucker, are you out of your damn mind?
Welcome back to Casino Royale with Cheese. This is episode number 31 of the show where we discuss movies that were number one at the box office exactly 20 years ago. My name is Shane. With me today, I'm joined by the man who, much like Blade, struggles with the constant battle of not sucking off any dude he comes across. This is Mike.
What? What?
Yeah.
I don't have that problem.
Not what I heard. I read about it on the bathroom wall.
Oh. It must be true then.
Absolutely. How's it going today there, Padre?
Oh, you know, normal Sunday. Had to go to work. No
Yeah.
big deal.
I hear you. I guess I'm doing all right. Had a busy weekend. Me and a wife,
You got
though.
two little kids will keep you busy.
Oh God, yeah. Surprisingly, it's not the newborn. It's the 3-year-old that I'm like, you're about to drive me up the freaking wall, dude. You know?
I can't speak for other people's kids, but I can tell you that the year that Farrah was 3 was definitely the most trying year.
I can see that. I can see that. Oh well, it'll all come out in the wash. It's all good.
Well, she'll turn 4 eventually, you know.
Well, yeah, you know. So, and then I have death to look forward to. So, you know, no. Me and the wife, we got to do a little hobnobbing around. We got to have what I would consider like an upscale dinner for us on Friday, and then we went to the comedy club. So that was kind of nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Then we did the side straddle, bend and reach. No, not really.
Did you see a comedian that I would recognize the name of?
No, I don't think so. No. I mean, they played a little Bill Burr before the thing started, but that was like his Netflix special. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that dude's hilarious. I love Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr's fantastic.
Yeah, he's great. Aside from that, you know, just chilling. We are done with Military Movie Month, unfortunately, for some. Fortunately for others, I mean, if you don't like military stuff, then hey, we're past that, so go get it, you know?
Yeah, I've actually met a couple people that just don't watch war movies.
Yeah. Sadly, Jared's one of those. So, you know, we had to kind of compromise. Like, it couldn't be straight up war, you know? It had to have a twist to it, like Robin Williams or something, you know? So,
Right.
But instead, we got back into the swing of things, and we're doing Blade. It was number one 20 years ago. Yeah. Old Wesley Snipes. What's your experience with Blade, Mike? Why don't you tell me about it?
Well, I definitely saw all the Blades upon release. And I guess Blade 3 is the one that sticks in my memory the most.
Blade Trinity or whatever?
Yeah, that's the one that had Ryan Reynolds in it. And
Jessica Biel.
Jessica Biel, yeah. I guess that one sticks in my head the most because re-watching the first Blade this week. I was surprised at how much stuff I'd forgotten about the film.
Me and you both. Insanely. It's been a long time since I watched this movie. I know I did watch it. Back in the day, I actually owned all the Blade movies, and I think I watched them all once. And I wound up selling them because I never really watched them all that much. Before that, I know that they were like a big deal, and this must have been around, I want to say 2004-ish when I bought them, and then I sold them like in 2006 or 7. But I know that I had seen them before that. However, you know, I watched the first one, and I remembered certain parts, like where Frost is, you know, taking Dragon Eddie out to a field, basically, you know, that sort of thing. But for the most part, I didn't remember a lot of this crap, you know. I knew that there was kind of like this coup that he performed, but I didn't remember like his overall plot, you know. And so there's some crazy stuff there. But
well, the guy who plays Frost, his name is what, Steven Dorff, I think?
Yeah, yep.
I forgot he was even in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like as soon as I saw him again, I was like, oh shit, he's in this?
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
It's really funny. Our friend Kelly, she thinks that dude's like super hot.
He's pretty hot.
I thought like there were a couple scenes where like his shirt was off. I thought he looked scrawny, dude. Like you usually expect to see like big muscular like bad guys, but no.
No, he's a vampire. Vampires have always been like lean and mean.
Kind of, yeah.
The werewolves are the big hulking people.
That's true. I could see that. But yeah, so I had this movie. I hadn't seen it before that. I watched it the once, and then I watched Blade 2. Spoiler alert, that one is the one I like best out of this whole trilogy.
Recalled liking that one as well.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And it has Ron Perlman, so you can't go wrong. But yeah, then after I watched it, I think I watched the third one once, and then I took them all down to the secondhand store because I was like, yeah, I'm good. Which nowadays I never sell DVDs, so it's kind of unheard of.
Right.
So do you remember if you saw this at the theater or?
No, I don't think I did.
No, yeah, me neither.
I think I saw this at home.
Yeah.
VHS rental.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We can do a little cast rundown real quick if you like.
I would love to.
Take a look.
There's quite a few recognizable faces.
Yeah, ish. We'll say. I mean, so there's two major big ones right up front. Obviously, you got your Wesley Snipes. He plays Blade.
He was a monster star around this time too.
Yeah, because wasn't it Tango and Cash that he was in and all that crap?
Tango and Cash.
Yeah, he was in something like that. Oh no! I'm thinking of a different one. It was Demolition Man, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was in Demolition Man.
Yeah.
He was in what's the movie where he's just like always bet black? Dang, I can't remember the name of it.
I think it was.
He was in a bunch of movies.
Yeah.
He was in White Man Can't Jump.
Yeah, he was. He was a big deal for a while. He's since run into some legal problems, but
totally disappeared.
Yeah, apparently they got him for not paying his taxes. So
yeah, the only time I hear his name now is when the rumors were going around that him and Joe Rogan were gonna meet in a cage fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would be interested to see that, actually.
Oh, that wouldn't be good.
You don't think so?
Joe Rogan would run right through that dude.
I mean, he's pretty skilled. I'm not gonna lie. You know, he's in great shape, and he's been training forever for just his own amusement. So,
well, he's a black belt in like 4 different categories of martial arts. Yeah.
Let's see here. We got Steven Dorff, as we mentioned. He plays Deacon Frost. Mm-hmm. Chris Christopherson makes an appearance. Actually, several. Yeah, as Whistler. He's pretty great in this movie. I like him.
I think so.
Yeah. Nabushe Wright plays Karen, his little girlfriend. What was her last name? Karen Jensen. That's it.
I just called her Doctor the whole time.
Doctor. There you go. We got Donald Logan plays Quinn. And that dude I've seen in some other stuff. I want to say that he was in like a sitcom or something I used to watch back in the day. But he usually plays characters that like fuck off all the time. He doesn't ever really I can't think of any other instance where he played like a villain, you know. So
Right.
Udo Kier plays Dragonetti, which I could have swore I saw that dude, you know, in some other stuff, but I actually went through and did some research, and I couldn't. I mean, he has little bit parts and stuff, but nothing major, you know, to speak of, as far as like big roles that you would recognize him from. The other ones that I was thinking of, let's see, we got Sanaa Lathan, who plays his mom, Blade's mom.
Right.
Yeah, she was in Alien vs. Predator, the first one.
Who's the guy who plays? I think his name is Quinn in this.
Yeah. Donald
Did you already
Logan.
say his? Did you already say him?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
That's what it was. I saw a few episodes of it, but I didn't. For whatever reason, it just didn't register that that was him.
Yeah, he plays a really sick, twisted character in that show.
Yeah.
And he's only in like the last season or two.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. I find that interesting because I've also seen him in roles where he just kind of like messes around the whole time. He doesn't do stuff that's like super serious, you know. So,
I thought he was really good in Sons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's good in that show. So, this movie was written by David S. Goyer, who later on would collaborate with like Christopher Nolan and stuff to do the Dark Knight trilogy.
Wasn't this a graphic novel?
It was a comic book, yeah.
A comic book, okay.
Yeah. It was actually produced by Stan Lee. And so I think one thing that's interesting, it was actually a New Line Cinema movie. And so New Line Cinema did a Marvel movie. Well, later on, New Line Cinema was bought by Warner Brothers, who does the DC movies. And so,
right.
Yeah, it's kind of, they're at odds with each other, kind of. But, you know, it's all good. David S. Goyer, he's been around for a while. He doesn't do a whole lot of directing, but he's one of the heavy hitters with like the, bless you.
Thanks.
With like the DCEU and all that other shit, you know. So, Stephen Norrington is the director. He is most famous for having directed Blade. So, whatever. Yeah. And then I guess that's kind of, I mean, as far as numbers go, that's all I got, or people at least.
Okay.
Do you want to do some numbers by chance?
I would love to do some numbers.
Okay. This movie was made on a budget of 45 million United States dollars.
I think they did a pretty good job.
That's way better than they did with. I always revert back to Lethal Weapon 4. What the fuck? Yeah. It was. How many weeks do you think it was number one for?
Was it number one for 2 weeks, Alex?
It was indeed. I also like you putting that in the form of a question, so props to you.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Yep. How much do you think it grossed in the United States total?
It made double its money, 90 million.
You're close. It made just over 70 million, so you weren't too far off. But yeah, so there's that. I do think it's interesting. Some couple things that I found noteworthy just looking through on IMDb real quick. Apparently there were 3 actors that they originally wanted in the role. They were looking at the first one obviously was Wesley Snipes, but if he wasn't going to do the movie, then they were also looking at potentially Lawrence Fishburne. So
I can see that.
Yeah, whatever. It is.
Didn't he play another like cloak wearing guy in something?
Yeah, Morpheus in The Matrix.
Oh yeah, there you go. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
I was thinking Cowboy Curtis more so than The Matrix, but yeah. The other one was Denzel Washington.
I could see that too. It would be a very different movie.
It would be very different, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think they made the right call.
I have to agree, because I think that all 3 of the actors are good in their own respective lanes, you know? Denzel obviously is, in my opinion, one of the best actors walking around. But Lawrence Fishburne, he's not bad, but you know, I think that for the type of movie this is, Wesley Snipes was a pretty good go-to. So you know,
well, Denzel. I mean, I'm a monster Denzel fan. I mean, if you're a fan of movies and you don't like Denzel Washington, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
But especially as he gets older, he plays Denzel in like every movie.
I'd have to agree.
Like it's pretty much since Training Day.
Yeah.
He's pretty much played the same character since then.
Right. If you look at right after Training Day was that John Q movie, and I think that might have been the one where he, like, in recent history, kind of stepped out of his box a little bit.
Well, I guess he played that. There's a movie that came out not that long ago that I did not see, where he's like a really eccentric, like, attorney.
Yeah, where has the afro and all that shit.
Yeah, I haven't seen it though.
I haven't seen it either. I don't even remember the name of it. I guess it's a true story, but
then I gotta watch it.
There you go. He did. You know, if you look back though at like one of my favorites personally, like Man on Fire. It's a great movie, but it's just Denzel really being Denzel. Movie. Yeah.
It's a really good movie. And Equalizer 2 is in theaters now, and I hear it's awesome.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen that, but I did like the first one a lot. So
I did too. I heard this new one is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of wondering if they're gonna try to milk this thing like John Wick. You know.
You know, I still haven't seen either one of the John Wicks.
Me neither. The third one's on its way, and I still haven't seen the first two.
Wow, we gotta watch those.
Yeah, we might have to like binge that crap, like when the girls do their concert here upcoming pretty quick. So
next weekend.
Yeah. But before we do that, let's talk about Blade.
Oh,
segue.
Yeah, I forgot that's what we're here for.
Right. Why don't you go ahead and what do you remember? First off, what was your initial whenever you up until this point, not including this last time you saw it? What was your opinion on Blade? Like, badass? I thought it was fun. Yeah,
fun movie.
I remember really liking it for whatever reason, and I think that encompasses the whole trilogy.
Cool shit in it.
Yeah, it does.
And it's got vampires. I love vampires. Like I'm the kid that was I was a vampire for Halloween. I don't know, a dozen times.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a vampire so bad. I don't know why. It just there's something sexy about them.
Yeah, they do kind of romanticize vampires.
Right.
Yeah. I think, and you have to keep in mind when this movie came out, this was kind of a lull in the whole vampire thing. Like, you can't throw a rock nowadays without hitting a damn vampire movie. But back then, I mean, the vampire thing, it kind of tapered off a little bit, you know? And then it would peak majorly in the new millennium, you know? But
Twilight.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. That's what I was talking about, but wasn't going to say it. So. But, all right, well, go ahead and get us started here, and let's tell everybody about this movie.
The movie opens in 1967. We're in a hospital where a woman is obviously in trouble. She's being wheeled in on a stretcher and has a bite to the neck. She's pregnant and going into labor. She gives birth, and then she dies.
She does. That's true. I think it's interesting they actually drop her... They show her ID, and it's Vanessa Brooks is her name, which is true to the comic. And then later on in the movie, they call Blade, they keep calling him Eric. And Eric Brooks is his name in the comic book. But he's originally British, which I find interesting. It's kind of different. But no, everything you said is accurate to the film. We
Thank you.
Cut ahead to modern day, which equals 20 years ago.
1998.
Yeah. And there's a couple that they're going to this meat packing plant. And apparently there's this big old party taking place in the back of this thing. You know?
We called those a rave.
Right. We did in 1998 at least. Yeah.
In 98, raves were huge, by the way.
Right, yeah. Glow sticks were a premium, all that shit. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So this chick takes this dude. He doesn't know what's going on. She says it's going to be a surprise. And then they go to this rave, and he's like, fuck yeah, this looks awesome. And, he's dancing around, but everybody's being really fucking rude to him.
Right. There's ladies running around in their undergarments and stuff. And
yeah, but he's not even doing anything crazy. He's just dancing, and people are like shoving him out of the way,
Right.
and stuff. And we find out relatively quick, it's not your normal rave.
No, it's not. Shit starts dripping on the dude.
Bloodbath. Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Wah, 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 wah. This guy starts noticing that this droplets of crap that are falling on him, they're coming out of the sprinkler, but it's all blood, you know.
Right.
And I think that it's interesting. So, you know, if you're a vampire and blood's kind of scarce, this is probably the least effective way to distribute it to these people. You know, but then again, they're partying, so it's whatever. But
yeah, I can see that.
It made me think of the most recent Fury Road, the Mad Max Fury Road, where like Immortan Joe at the beginning of the movie, he's like giving the people water and just like pouring it off the side of this mountain, you know, hoping that these people. And I was like, that's, if water's scarce, dude, don't do that, you know. Just hand out bottles.
Good way to distribute.
Yeah, no, you know, probably a good 85% of that shit's going into the ground, but we find out pretty quickly that all the party goers are vampires, and they're basically threatening this guy, getting ready to eat him, you know, whatever, which I don't know why they give a fuck about him, because they're all covered with blood anyway, so there's plenty of food right there.
And I was thinking, why is he the only human there?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't they all bring their own human?
Yeah. Just feast on him, yeah.
Because this was, like, something I was thinking about when I was watching this part, was he's the only one there.
Right.
Okay, I just told you already,
yeah.
Like, my weakness for vampire, like, lore, how cool I think it is. But my bigger weakness is hot chicks. And let's say I'm a single dude, okay?
Right.
And I meet this smoking hot babe who's like, hey, I want to take you somewhere with me. I'm like, let's go.
Right. Yes.
There would be tons of people there.
You would think, you know.
Yeah, and the vampire dudes are like good-looking, charming guys too, so they'd be able to get girls to go with them.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, are they?
So
are they gonna like divvy up this guy like and split his blood like 250 ways, or? You know, like,
that's what I was saying. Like, that's not a very big meal.
No, that's not. That's a taste. Right before, anyways, yeah,
it doesn't matter because Blade shows up.
Right. And that's one thing that I like is, so Blade, he's obviously Wesley Snipes. He's clad in all of his leathery, you know, stuff with all of his vampire slaying weapons. He's got silver bullets that he uses, his samurai sword that also has spikes that come out of the handle, so if the wrong person grabs it, then they're up shit creek. Sometimes, yeah. He has like the little like swirly thing that he, like, I call it a deadly frisbee, made out of silver. Basically throws it, it circles around and like comes back like a boomerang and kills anything in his path.
It'd be more accurate to call it a boomerang.
Yeah, the death boomerang.
Than a frisbee.
Right. And so basically, long story short, he just starts tear-assing these vampires like crazy.
He fucks them all up in no time.
Every one of them. One thing that's cool is whenever he kills one, they like turn to ash. I think it's kind of neat. I wish it would have looked better, but you know.
it looks kind of like vanishing paper or flash paper.
I agree. It does.
And then there's one guy in particular that he wants to talk to, and it's Quinn.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm tired of chopping you up. How about fire this time? And he just burns the dude right against the wall.
I don't get it, personally.
I don't either. I don't get it. There's a lot of stuff through the relationship between Blade and Quinn I don't get.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. He knows that fire is not going to be effective at stopping this dude.
It's not going to kill him.
You might as well have just let him go. In other words, you know. Whatever. He did say before he lit him on fire, he says, send my regards to Frost. And so you're like, oh, who's this Frost cat, you know? The cops show up because it took them long enough. They find the one human that was at the party, and basically Blade at this point is gone, and there's like the dude that's on fire, Quinn. And the cops don't know what the hell happened. I can imagine that would be like a forensic nightmare, like blood everywhere. You know,
a
whatever.
lot of different like DNA.
Yeah, forget that. I'm not even investigating that.
And just one guy by himself. Like, how did he do all that?
Yeah. And where did it come from? Because there's nobody else here. Just these piles of ash everywhere.
Yeah.
But so we meet up with Dr. Karen Jensen, and she is a hematologist. So she studies blood. And she is apparently, I guess, working at this like coroner's office. And I guess she used to date this dude that she works with named Curtis Webb, which she was way out of his league, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's a fucking derpy looking idiot. You know? But
maybe he's nice.
He must, or else he's like got something going on downstairs that would put everybody to shame, you know. But so he basically, this dude Webb, he starts giving her shit like, hey, maybe we should try to work things out. She's like, yo, I said that we needed to take a break, you know. I'm not interested in you like that anymore. And so he's like, basically comes back, tries to hit her up. He's like, yo, check out this body that they just brought in. And so they go, they check out the body. Sure enough, it's Quinn, burnt to a crisp. He comes back to life and kills he kills Webb.
Curtis.
Yeah, and then bites her in the neck. Right before Blade shows up.
Yeah, Blade's there. So he already knew that this dude was going to come back to life in the morgue.
Why didn't... That would be like me, like, throwing my TV outside and then be like, oh, fuck, why did I do that? I better go get my TV, you know? That's so dumb. I don't know why he would, like, not kill him just to, like, I'll catch up with you later, basically, you know?
So I have a theory.
Okay.
He's trying to follow Quinn to Frost.
Fair enough.
That's why he keeps letting him go, because he's hoping he will lead him to Frost.
Well, they even say that later on. They
do?
Well, not necessarily in this instance, but that's like Blade's end game is to find Frost, you know? Yeah, so, I mean, there's a fair amount of credence to that. I can see that.
Well, so Quinn starts eating the doctors.
Right.
Blade steps in and is like fighting Quinn, and then the cops show up and like unload gunfire on Blade, and Blade's like, "Are you motherfuckers crazy?"
Right. I like it. Those are the few funny moments in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he throws the doctor out the window, a far distance, by the way. And then he jumps after her.
Right.
Which now we know this dude's got some type of superhuman strength and power.
Right. He's got some ability going on, yeah. So he takes Jensen to the hideout. He's got his badass black car. It kind of reminded me of like the Punisher car from the Thomas Jane Punisher movie, just because they both drive badass cars, but they're not like pimped out like a Batmobile or anything, you know. So he goes to, I guess, we'll call it the Blade Cave, his hideout, basically.
I call it Whistler's warehouse.
Oh, there you go. Little alliteration there, you bet. And we meet Whistler. Isn't it Abraham Whistler? Is his name? Yeah. And Chris Christopherson. Blade says that she's been bit. Of course, Whistler, he's a cantankerous old man. So he's like, well, why didn't you shoot her in the face then, you know? And he's like, you know, I thought that maybe I could save her, you know? And so they have this garlic-based, silver-based injection that they can give her that apparently, in some cases, can, if they're not too far gone, can keep people from turning into a vampire.
That's what they said.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. So
I don't think we have to go too deep into the deets.
No, it's not. We cut to like
vampire
this vampire board meeting looking thing.
And, yeah, bunch of old pure bloods.
Right. And all they do really is bitch to Frost about like how his vampire raves aren't safe to do anymore.
And he's not even legit because he was turned, he wasn't born.
Right, and of course...
So this is where my problem with Blade starts to show up.
Alright.
How are vampires born?
That's a good question right there, dude. I thought it was like transmitted by way of infection, basically.
I thought this whole time, like, out of all the vampire movies I've ever watched, I've never heard of a vampire being born.
No, me neither. I mean, I wouldn't even think that, like, biologically speaking, that, like, two vampires could, like, procreate, you know? But...
Well, wouldn't you have this little vampire in your room, like, sucking up all your blood?
Yeah, basically. Like, and what the crazier part about that is since vampires don't age, is if you, like, give birth to, like, an infant vampire, he's just gonna be like this infant that, like, is hungry all the time for like 500 years until you finally get sick of his ass and fucking stake him through the heart, you know?
Jesus, that got dark.
Right. I'd be like, Jesus, this dude's annoying, you know? We've had my son for 2 months and I'm at that point, so.
Oh my God.
Poor Will, I'm just kidding.
I'm coming over to take him away right now.
Right, yeah. I'm gonna call DHS when we're done. And yeah. No, it was great. I love him. Anyway.
So that was just my one thing that, like, was like, they're born?
Oh, there's a lot of stuff in here that makes no sense. But yeah, that one's definitely on my list. So Frost doesn't want to he doesn't want to pussyfoot around the humans anymore. Basically, he's like, I don't know why we should hide from the humans. We're the superior species. We could basically own them. He thinks of humans as being a source of food as opposed to something that, you know, people should fear or anything like that, you know?
Yeah.
So basically we get to where we see Blade and he's buying like this serum from this dude like on the street.
It's like a pawn shop.
Yeah.
He brings him a bag of watches.
I assume it's watches from vampires that he's killed.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
Vampires and familiars.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't like them either, which we'll go into.
Yeah, and Blade's building up a resistance to the serum.
Mm-hmm. We don't know what it's for yet.
We don't know yet. Well, it doesn't take very long for us to find out.
Yeah, I think that he explains it to Jensen pretty quickly. The Jensen wakes up.
Oh no, he doesn't.
Oh, go ahead.
He doesn't. She right here in this next scene, she wakes up and she overhears Whistler and Blade talking.
Yeah, that's what it was. She wakes up and she's not a vampire, so that's a good sign because they're not sure if she's gonna turn or not. He sees Mama Blade, Mrs. Brooks or Miss Brooks, whatever. He sees her ID, and she sees like this plant that's like it's like a weird fern or something like that.
Yeah, they show this plant several times throughout the film. I have no idea what the significance
I don't know the significance at all. Yeah, they never, like later on, it like shows them like tearing up this plant, and you're like, well, glad he got that out of his system, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel better now, buddy?
Right.
But basically, the doctor's up. She overhears Whistler and Blade talking about how he's building up what's the resistance?
The tolerance or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, to the serum, and that they hunt vampires.
Mm-hmm.
They do. And they even have some new gadgets.
Yeah, they got new stuff they're working with, which is nice. It's a little UV flashlight.
It's not little, but yes.
Well, yeah, it's pretty bulky. Which by the third movie, that thing had been minimized down to like nothing, you know.
Yeah, Blade even makes a joke that it's still heavy, and Whistler says, "But you're so big."
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, they takes the UV light. Basically, he tells Jensen, he's like, you know, we've done all we can for you, so it's time to go home, you know.
Yeah. Tells her to buy a pistol,
and
that if she's starting to feel like the symptoms, that she should go ahead and shoot herself.
Right. Yep. And they give her a little can of what they call vampire mace, which I guess is garlic and
silver nitrate and garlic.
And garlic, yeah. I always thought the garlic thing was weird, man. Like when it comes to vampire, and I mean, it's not that obviously that didn't originate with this movie. But I got you know, in Dracula, he doesn't like crucifixes. Well, obviously, you know, because of the religious connotation. We've got, you know, the stake through the heart. I don't know why it has to be a wood stake, but whatever. It doesn't in this movie. But garlic, that's a weird thing, man. I think it's interesting too whenever we go through and watch different stuff that you find out, like if you compare this to like the Lost Boys, like basically it comes down to like they just had to wear like sunglasses because the light like hurt their eyes, but in this it'll straight up kill them, you know. Or
unless they're wearing sunblock.
Right. Yeah, which is pretty weak, but yeah, we'll go into it. So go ahead.
So Frost is at the archive. We cut to Frost. He's at some type of archives. Gitano is like the head elder kind of guy.
Yeah, the CEO. That's what I call him.
Yeah, the CEO, yeah. And he basically he goes off on Frost saying that he knows he's not supposed to be there. It's only for board members only. Oh, what are you doing anyways? Oh, you're researching this? You'll never figure out what it means. It's ancient, dead language.
Right.
Because Frost is running this computer system on what we find out later is the Book of Erebus.
Right.
And he's like trying to decode it. And they get in a little pissing match. And basically Gitano like threatens Frost, but Frost is like, what are you going to do to me?
He bitch slaps him, dude.
Yeah.
Straight
But then
up.
he just leaves anyways.
Yeah, he does. This dude's kind of out of control. I know that he would be more effort than he was worth if it was me personally, but you know, whatever.
Then we cut to a car ride where Blade and the Doctor, or Karen, are they're riding to her. I guess he's giving her a ride to her apartment.
Right.
And throughout the ride, he tells her like vampires are fucking everywhere, way more than you would ever expect to see.
Right. They're all over the place, and you're marked. He tells her, so they're probably going to come after you again because they've already like bit you or whatever.
Yeah, you're pretty much gonna die either way.
Right. Yeah.
So
but yeah.
Immediately after she gets out of the car and heads into her elevator, she sees people with like hieroglyphics tattooed on their neck, and she knows that means that they're connected to vampires.
Mm-hmm. She goes to confront them, and she's got like mace in hand, and then sure enough, they're not there. So she goes into her apartment. She's packing a bag, getting ready to dip out, and then a cop shows up.
Just walks the fuck in.
Yeah. Don't know that that's protocol, but I guess the door was open, so whatever. He's like, yo, you good? And she's like, what happened to the dude that I work with, the Curtis dude? And he's like, oh, he's dead, just like you're gonna be. He pulls out a gun, but she shoots him in the face with the mace, and it doesn't do anything.
Because he's not a vampire.
Right, he's a
familiar.
Familiar, yeah. Basically people that work for vampires, long story short.
Well, they work for vampires with the hope that someday they'll be turned.
Right. I don't know.
To, like, prove themselves.
Do you have to hope to be a vampire? Like, because we see later on in the movie that pretty much if you get bit, you're a vampire. So, I mean, it would be... You could accidentally become a vampire almost in the world of Blade, you know? Like...
Well, I mean, I guess in the world of Blade, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I know that there's other vampire stuff like True Blood and stuff like that where they go through an entire like ritual like scenario whenever you're gonna change over to a vampire or whatever, but in this you just get bit, and if you don't die then you're basically turned, you know.
Right.
Anyway, so we all of a sudden Blade busts on in, and turns out that he's been using her as bait to try to lead to get back to Frost. You know, because he knew somebody was going to come after her. So basically the cop escapes, but he leaves his car there, and so Blade and Jensen sit in his car and just wait for him to come back, because he has apparently like a bunch of blood packs and stuff like that in the trunk of his car that he's taking somewhere to like a clinic.
He's like a blood delivery driver.
Yeah. And so sure enough, he comes back later that night, and they follow him to the safe house. And he starts giving her some weapons whenever they get to go into the safe house.
Well, it's an Asian club.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, Blade is emphasizing like how prolific vampires are. The door guy's a vampire. The people standing in line are vampires.
Mm-hmm.
The hooker on the corner is a vampire.
Yeah.
Everybody here's a vampire. So, yeah, he gives her some weapons. Briefly tells her how to use it, and the doorman stops Blade, and Blade just throws him through the door.
Mm-hmm. He tells her that a steak, silver, or sunlight will work, but you have to aim for the head or for the heart. Otherwise,
everything else, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
They said, what did they say? Holy water and crucifixes don't do shit.
Yeah, doesn't do shit. Yeah. Which is at odds with our From Dusk Till Dawn movie, but because they use a lot of holy water in that.
And crucifixes.
Yeah. So, what did you think about the Asian singers whenever we first see the club?
Confusing as fuck, man. So confusing to me.
I thought that was so horrible.
They're the stereotypical, like, hot Asian schoolgirl.
Mm-hmm.
That rap.
Right. I thought the music was just awful, though, man.
Well, they rap, but they rap at, like, really high pitch, almost chipmunky voice.
Yeah. Almost unwatchable. I wanted to turn it off.
But everybody in the club is just like staring at the two of them.
Mm-hmm. They are. Nobody moves though. They don't do anything to him until Blade winds up seeing the cop. He just comes sauntering like out of the kitchen or whatever, and so Blade winds up beating this dude until he gives info about there's entrance to the archive that's underneath the safe house where they're at.
Yeah, Blade's technique for interrogating people is just throw them through everything breakable in the room.
I guess it's effective.
He does that in her apartment.
Yeah.
He does it in her apartment. He does it in the kitchen. He just throws them through everything.
Right. It works. He gets what he wants. So we see where Deacon Frost is having a party, but his translation of these like Dead Sea Scrolls for vampires is complete. And so he comes out and he's talking to, because Quinn is there and all of his people that are half dressed and everything are there. And then sure enough, this cop shows up and he's trying to explain to Deacon what happened and how, you know, Blade knows where the archive is at and Frost just kills him, like, sucks him dry. And then
doesn't he tell Frost it's open season on all suckheads?
Yeah, it's basically what he told him. You bet.
When he let the cop go, I thought that was pretty funny.
On all suckheads.
Tell Frost it's open season on all suckheads.
Frost tells.
Because Blade says he says a lot of things through his teeth.
Oh, he does. And that's one thing is, I think that when it comes to the acting in this movie, it doesn't require all that much as far as skill goes. Really, you're going to have more of a difficult time like pulling off the stunts and the action stuff than the actual acting. So, you know.
I thought Frost was pretty good.
Frost did good. Chris Christopherson was good. Whistler, I think that's probably about it. I mean, the doctor, girlfriend, love interest character, she did fine, you know, passable. But they didn't give her anything to do, you know. So Frost tells Quinn that he wants Blade alive, that he doesn't want to kill him.
Blade alive. I love Quinn's reaction. He's like, what?
That's stupid. Yeah.
He keeps cutting my arms off, bro.
Right. At least I will give this movie credit is in this movie they actually give the villain a reason to not kill the hero, because they do that in all these movies where, you know, this guy's just a pain in the ass to all the bad guys' plans, and they don't kill him. You know, well, at least here they have a reason to keep him alive. So I'll give you that.
Yep.
So Blade finds Pearl.
Yeah, we meet Pearl.
What is up with this scene, bro?
I don't know. It's very disturbing.
It's really just random and gross.
So Pearl is this. To say
blob.
obese would be not well described. Pearl's huge.
Right, that's like insulting people that are obese, you know.
Right, Pearl is Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Large.
Like, it doesn't even have like appendages anymore. It's just a big fat blob sitting in the floor, you know.
And I don't understand because I thought it was a girl.
I mean, that's the name Pearl would imply that, you know.
Yeah, but then he calls her Biscuit Boy.
Yeah.
Blade calls Pearl Biscuit Boy.
Well, and even Frost is like talking about Pearl, and he's like, you know, he's dead now.
Right.
You know, yeah. So I don't know. It was weird. And then they don't even get anything from Pearl that they couldn't have found on their own anyway. but whatever.
Yeah, they just torture Pearl with the UV light.
Right.
The doctor seems to enjoy doing it.
Yeah, she's just pretty weird. And it's, of course, like burning Pearl, and he's screaming, and smoke's coming off of him the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They never even say, I guess it's... Why was Pearl down there? Like, what is the point of this character?
I don't know. They briefly said, like, what he does. Like, he's the guy in charge of the archive.
Oh. Whatever. Shit was weird.
Yeah, it was
I didn't
weird.
like it. So apparently he asked about the translation. Pearl says that the translation was a prophecy. And then all of a sudden he breaks into this room where there's all this like vampire like scripture like hanging in these big old plates of glass. And
pretty cool looking room.
yeah, it really was. Yeah. And that's the scripts from the Book of Erebus.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like their Dead Sea Scrolls almost.
Yeah, the Vampire Bible, you know. And so, sure enough, he's going to go through there. I don't even know what he was trying. I think he was just trying to figure out what Frost's plan was, but then all of a sudden, like, Quinn and his boys show up and wind up beating the fuck out of Blade. And so he winds up going through. He has Blade has like these silver stakes, and Quinn like stabs him in the shoulder with one, like right at where his clavicle is, you know. And then Whistler intervenes at the last second before he can stab him again. He rescues Blade.
Yeah, like just blows through a wall.
Yeah, which Whistler doesn't get out much, so that's cool, you know. Did they ever explain why Whistler's wearing like a knee brace?
No.
No, it's just a weird deal.
You would just figure from years of battle.
Just doing stuff, yeah. I got you.
He's just breaking down, yeah.
Originally,
then they go on. Go ahead.
Oh, I think it's interesting because originally, I guess Whistler wasn't introduced until like the '90s Spider-Man cartoon, and like he was a new character to that show, and then like he became like a sidekick for Blade later on.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird, man. But yeah. So
well, anyways, Whistler throws a duffel bag full of explosives into the room.
Right.
And all the vampires go chasing Blade, Whistler, and the Doctor out of the room into like some tunnel that leads to a subway.
Yep.
The bomb goes off. Everybody gets nuked, except for Blade, the Doctor, and Whistler. Until that's not true anymore, and a group of them survived it, apparently.
Right.
So they're in the tunnel. We see Blade, Whistler, and Doctor all like get outside the tunnel against the walls between the train to avoid the blast.
Yes.
Right? The blast goes off. We see it tear through the tunnel, blowing up everybody in the tunnel.
Yes, it does.
And then 2 seconds later, Quinn and a few of them survived that.
Right. They do. And it's not like they're all like... Because we've seen that fire doesn't kill vampires, but it's not like they're all burnt up or anything either. Like,
no, they weren't even touched.
That actually would have looked cool to like see these like undead burnt dudes like chasing at him through this hallway. Like that would have been awesome. But no, they're fine. They're in regular clothes. They're good to go. You know.
Poor editing.
Yeah, it was. I think probably poor writing factors in too. But
okay.
Yeah. So he goes through. They basically escape on the subway. Long story short.
Let's call it fight on the tracks.
Yeah, essentially.
He cuts off another arm off of Quinn.
Yeah, he does. Poor Quinn.
And every time Quinn gets one of his arms cut off, he just turns around and runs.
Yeah. Ah, fuck! I'm out of here. Yeah.
Yeah. Damn it! Arm down.
Right.
So, in case you guys aren't following, in this movie, the vampires regenerate.
Yes, they do. Which doesn't.
If you don't hit them in the heart or the head, they just grow back. Whatever.
Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
lost.
The best I guess you could hope to do would be like shoot him in the leg, like shoot the leg off with like a 12 gauge or something. At least they'll be incapacitated to a point where you can take them out the rest of the way. But yeah. Anyway, we get to where Whistler is explaining to, I think it's Whistler is explaining to Jensen that he found Blade when he was
Blade's
13.
backstory?
Yeah. So Blade is he's the baby from the pregnant lady we saw earlier on in the movie. Which by this logic, this would be, well, I guess he's supposed to be like, so the math basically would play out like he's 31 years old. I could kind of see that. Wesley Snipes is looking good, you know.
Oh, he's super jacked in this
Yeah,
movie.
he is. He is that.
The biggest I ever seen Wesley Snipes. Like, I think that's one of the big things I forgot about Blade was that, like, he got bulked up for that role.
Dude, his biceps were incredible in this movie. Like,
he's huge.
Yeah, I saw it. I was like, golly, dude. Like, I wasn't
definitely
used to seeing him like that.
Doing some supplements of the illegal kind.
Right. That's okay. I think that, you know, when it comes down to it, people get all pissed off about people doing, you know, like steroids and stuff like that. I don't care, you know. If you want to get huge and jacked and your dick shrivel up, then more power to you, man. Like, I don't care.
It was so funny the fact that steroids are illegal. Okay, so obviously, as we learned last month, and since we've been doing the podcast, I'm in the Army. And I was actually the guy who did the drug testing for my unit for like 3 years. And we test for all kinds of drugs. Guess what we don't test for?
Steroids. Don't you have to do I've heard that you had to do a spinal tap to test for those.
No, you can get it through your analysis. But,
oh, okay.
I mean, you think about spinal tap. Look at all these MMA fighters and professional football and baseball players. They weren't getting spinal taps.
That's true. Yeah, you're going to drill into every one of those dudes?
Yeah. You can find it in your analysis,
Right.
but the Army selects not to test for that. They don't care if their soldiers are roided up.
That doesn't surprise me at all. Oh, really? He's going to be really strong and he can run super fast? Okay.
And aggressive?
Right, yeah. Don't care. Yeah. So apparently Whistler found Blade when he was 13 years old, and he basically was living on the street, like eating homeless
He was
people.
sucking hobos dry.
Yeah. And so I guess he explains that he was actually going to kill him at first and then decided he could like cultivate him or whatever. However, we hear about where apparently Blade has all of the vampire strengths, but none of their weaknesses. However, he still has a thirst for blood.
Hence the serum.
Which is, yeah. Now, with that being said, because once again, the daylight thing is an issue for the vampire, so he can walk around in the daylight. He does age normally.
He's a
human
daywalker.
Yeah. The only one like it. Which that actually factors in more in like the third Blade movie, I think, than it does here, quite a bit. But he does age normally, like a regular human. I think that's about it as far as weaknesses and strengths go. But he has
gets
obviously
all the strength.
Yeah, superhuman stuff.
Yeah. He gets all the benefit, all the good stuff from vampires, all the bad stuff. He doesn't get any of their bad stuff except for the thirst.
Right. Yes. Of course, they're able to stave it off, but he's building a resistance to it. We find out that a vampire had killed Whistler's family. He had a wife and a daughter, I think he said.
2.
Oh, okay. And so they killed his family. And then we cut to where Frost is kidnapping this Gitano, the Dragonetti Gitano character. And he drives him out to like a field, pulls his fangs out.
A beach.
Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Like on a rock facing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pulls his fangs out and they leave him out there, you know.
Well, it said dawn.
Yeah.
And you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
We actually see like just a quick snippet before that where there's this blonde that hangs out with Frost most of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You see her like applying like sunblock to his face.
Right. I don't think that works. But, you know, because the whole thing...
SPF 1 million, I guess.
Right, 8 trillion, yeah. The thing about it is, like, if I put on sunblock and I hang out all day, I'm still going to get a tan, you know, but it's just not going to burn the shit out of me, you know. So, but...
Maybe you could just paint. Like, if you, like... If I broke out like some
like
paint,
black paint, just spray paint you, yeah. I mean, that could work, you know. Let's see, what else do we got here? he goes back to the board of directors for vampires, and he tells them that he needs 12 volunteers.
Well, he throws the fangs up on the table. So now they know he killed him.
I think that ultimately a way more, like, you know, if you really want to get somebody to just rip their fangs out, because now he can't feed, and he's basically just going to walk the earth like starving to death forever, you know?
No, you can still drink the blood bags from like the blood bank.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you might as well just kill him. You're right. So anyway, we see where Jensen has found a way to blow up vampires, essentially.
EDTA.
Yeah, I didn't remember the acronym, but yeah.
Yeah, it's an anticoagulant.
Mm-hmm. It is.
But for some reason, in vampires, it doesn't react that well.
No, you like stab them with it, and their head pops. That's essentially it. Now, is that the stuff that? Because later on, she talks about how she'd found like a cure for herself. Mm-hmm. Is that the same shit? That EDTA shit? Oh, okay. Because
because even in this scene, like Blade's like, some kind of cure you got there, and she's like, oh, I didn't say this was a cure.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, because I was like writing vigorously because this movie, like, they hit you up with a lot of story right up front, and it had been a while. I wasn't that familiar with this movie, and so I guess I must have overlooked the part where she like came up with the cure for herself. But
well, okay, so basically in this scene, we're back with Whistler, Blade, and the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Blade gives Whistler a piece of the Book of Erebus.
Right.
He knows it's about the blood god. He doesn't know anything else about it. So Blade hands him the hard drive. Doc's trying to find a cure for herself. They think it's a waste of time. But she does show him that she found the EDTA, which causes an explosive reaction when in contact with vampire blood.
Yes.
And basically, Whistler can tell that the Doc doesn't look like she's doing so well, and she's probably have a day or two left.
Yeah.
After that, we go to a scene where Frost meets Blade.
Yes. They basically meet in a park, and Frost has like this little Asian girl that he's like holding her captive so the Blade won't kill him. Frost actually wants to have a truce, and he wants Blade to like join his cause, and he's like, "You've got to be out of your mind! Like, I'm not joining up with you people." And so basically, Blade tells him to fuck off, and then he shoots at Frost.
And Frost throws a little girl through a hot dog stand.
Yeah, we get a bad Matrix effect.
But she's a tough little girl. She's alright.
She's kicking ass, you bet.
Blade turns around, picks her up before the bus runs her over.
Mm-hmm. He does. So we see where Jensen wants to try this gene therapy for the bloodthirst.
The sickle cell therapy. So this is where she finds the cure for herself.
Oh, I got you. Because I guess I missed the part where she actually like did it to herself and like it worked and all that shit. So
we don't know that it works.
Oh, okay. So
that's just what she says.
Right. So it's right about that time though that Frost and company wind up hitting the hideout.
Yep. Whistler's warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Whistler's warehouse. So basically they just beat Whistler like within an inch of his life, literally. And don't they wind up biting him too?
It appears that way.
Yeah. And so anyway, Whistler, I wrote down Whistler says Frost took, oh yeah, that's when Blade shows up later on, after everybody leaves, and he's talking to Whistler, and he's like, hey, they took Jensen, and they're trying to trigger a vampire apocalypse.
And you're the chosen one. You're the key.
Yeah. That's
you can't go looking for these people, because if they get a hold of you, it's all bad news.
Right. The creature that they're trying to awaken that's going to bring about this apocalypse called La Magra, which sounds Spanish to me. But yeah. And so anyway, that's apparently like a vampire god. And then that's whenever Whistler's like, I want you to give me your gun and walk away because I'm about to blow my head off so I don't turn.
Yeah, well, he wanted Blade to kill him but Blade
Right.
said no.
Blade wouldn't do it. Yeah. And so we get the impression that Whistler kills himself, but then he comes back in Blade 2. So apparently that didn't work.
You hear the gun go off.
You do. And like they even show his dead body later on, and like, so I don't know, but anyway, so Frost had left this tape for Blade to watch. He says that they can be found at the Edgewood Towers. Frost and his merry band of thugs and Jensen and all those guys, they're just partying it up. So he finds the Blade grabs the vials of the vampire exploding juice. And
ETA.
then, that's it. And so, what is it here? He winds up breaking into the towers. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Frost and Doc are talking, and she's telling him that because he's basically like offering to turn her, and she was like, "I'll cure myself again, just like I did last time."
Right.
So that's where we get the idea that she cured herself. We don't know that she actually did.
I don't even think she knew that she did, but yeah.
Yeah, she just told him this.
Right.
And then he basically goes off on this rant about there's a blood god coming. He's a hurricane, and everyone you know is going to be a vampire. How can you save the whole goddamn world?
Right.
Then Blade's there in a sweet motorcycle.
Yeah, it's pretty badass. Can't be mad at that.
He's just mowing down fools.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking
He does.
like clips upon clips, just killing people.
Yeah, he does.
Then we get the chance to see a couple of ninja vamps with tasers.
Yeah, they don't last long.
No, they get a little taste of that EDTA, and it's really cool because they like swell up.
Yeah.
Like almost like Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory.
But I was about to say Violet Beauregard, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they blow up into a big thing and then pop.
Yeah, essentially. In a hail of awful CGI. So, yeah.
Yeah, the fluid CGI in this movie is pretty shit.
Pretty wonky looking stuff. I even had some issues with the piles of ash that the vampires turn into. Like, that shit looked pretty shit to me, too. But, you know, it's whatever.
I mean, they had a small budget.
Right. They did. 45 mil. Can't hate it.
Blade works his way into Frost's bedroom.
Yeah.
And we see who that fine black woman that was in there earlier is. It's his mom.
It's his mom. Does that mean that Frost has been banging his mom this whole time?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Getting down. Huh.
We saw her earlier in the movie.
Yeah, we did. We didn't see her
know
face, but yeah. He was in bed with a black woman, though. Yeah.
Well, when he was doing his computer was like decoding that shit.
Right.
She goes, "Come on, baby, let's not keep anyone waiting."
Right. Yeah.
It's her.
So we find out that Frost is the one that actually bit Mama Blade, and he basically came back for her after the doctors thought that she had died, and he's been like cultivating her ever since. You know, back at his pad or whatever.
He even tells Blade, because they all show up with like tasers and get Blade to the ground.
Right.
And he even tells Blade, like, I don't know what you're fighting for. She belongs to me now.
Yeah. Called him Blazer. That's awesome. I love it. But yeah, then a swarm of vampires come in. They tase the shit out of him. He's down for the count. And so he basically gets to talking to Jensen because they have him, like, they're transporting him to this spot where we don't know.
Yeah, they're in the back of like a box truck.
Yeah. And he talks to Jensen and he said, "Hey, after all this is over, I'm going to take your cure." And she's like, "If you do that, then you're not going to have any more vampire abilities. You're going to be straight up human, you know." And so they take him to this place called the Temple of Eternal Night.
Yeah, it's a crazy ass looking tower.
Yeah, it is really crazy. And I'm going to go ahead and throw this out here right now. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting to be like in my old age or whatever, but basically from this point in the movie on out, I'm sitting here thinking, like, is there any way we could draw this shit out any fucking more than we are? 'Cause not a whole lot happens, but it takes up like a good 35 minutes worth of movie, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. but because I'm sitting there, like, I was thinking about it, like, I can sit through some really long movies as long as they, like, are really entertaining and really, like, quality stuff. And then, like, this movie is like 2 hours long, and I was like, oh God, you know, it's not even that long, you know.
It could have been a 90-minute one for sure.
Yeah, most definitely. So anyway,
I like a couple little spots right here, though. Frost get a hold of Blade's sword, and it doesn't open up on Frost.
Right, it does not.
And Blade's like, "What the fuck?"
Right.
He grabs all the vials of EDTA that Blade had on him. He thinks it's Blade's serum.
Right.
So he tosses it. Says he don't need that shit anymore.
Right.
And then he throws the doctor, or Karen, into a pit with Curtis.
And he hasn't eaten. So he's just
they said Curtis didn't turn. He's like a zombie.
Oh, yeah. Except he can still, like, talk and stuff, you know. So he's in a bad place, yeah. I don't know why he didn't turn, but...
I don't know. And she kicks his ass in no time.
Yeah, she beats the fuck out of him pretty well.
Like, really fast with, like, a femur bone.
Yeah. Indeed.
And then climbs her way the fuck up out of that pit, yo.
Yeah, she doesn't stay caught for long. We find out that Blade's thirst is taking over. And so, anyway, they need, however, Blade to be a blood sacrifice. And so they put him in this weirdo-looking chamber thing where there's these blades that, like, go around his wrist that, like, dig in and, like, draw blood out of his wrist, essentially. All the 12 board members or whatever get into their spots for this thing to be awakened.
Yeah, and he has a lovely talk with his mother.
Yeah. After they're
basically mom tells him, I love being a vampire.
Right. I don't care about you. The person that you knew before, that's not me anymore, you know, that sort of thing. So one thing I wrote down that was funny is apparently I said Frost needs girl to open his shirt because he's just like standing in the middle of the thing, and then like Blondie comes rolling up to him and she like tears his shirt open for him. I'm like, this is dumb. But whatever.
I thought that was hotter.
Yeah, could be. I mean, you only get to turn into a god once, you know, so you gotta look the part. So Blade winds up, after his little conversation with Mom, he winds up killing her. This is after he feasts on Dr. Jensen, I believe.
Yeah. So the way it worked, the sequence of events for Blade was he gets locked in the chamber, but before they close it, Mom tells him that she's a vampire now. She loves hunting. She loves killing. And then she locks him in the chamber.
Right.
Then they start to drain his blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they get all the pure bloods in line.
Right.
And a big storm is rolling in.
Right. Nobody believes that this thing is going to come about either. They're like, this is dumb. You're wasting your time.
Bullshit.
Right.
Doc gets out of the pit. Frost's girl, I don't know what to call her. The blonde girl wearing all white through the whole movie.
She had a name, but they never say it or anything, so
I just call her Frost's girl.
Yeah.
She kills one of the purebloods, like mouth and back.
Mm-hmm.
Doc frees Blade, and then tells him to drink her blood.
So he can get his strength back, yeah.
Right. Because he's like, dying pretty much.
He's hurting, yeah.
Then we see, like, while he's drinking blood, we see the blood that came out of his body circulating through this tower.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts to, like, drip on the heads of the purebloods.
Right.
And then Blade roars.
That's when you know he's mad, yeah.
Yeah. Then lightning strikes. And then Mom... Oh, and that fucking lightning strike shit. What the fuck, dude?
That looked awful. That was so dumb. I was like, what is the point of this? It's so weird, man.
Strikes the building.
Right.
And is, like, connecting to all the heads of the purebloods.
Right.
And they're, like, getting, like, dragged around by the lightning, kind of.
Yeah. And it, like, burns their skin, and then, like, this flying skull, like, gestates out of their mouths and just starts flying around and shit. Yeah. It's fucking weird.
Well, they're skeletons, but with, like, bat wings.
Right. Because it's going to help you fly if all it is bone. But, yeah. But I don't even think they're there. I think they're like spirits anyway, because they wind up going into what's his puss, Frost. So
yeah. Well, they're the souls of the 12 purebloods.
Oh, yeah.
And Blade and his mom fight. He kills his mom with that femur that Karen used to get out of the pit.
Mm-hmm.
So when I saw that happen, that's when I realized all the rules they've been establishing throughout the film about how to kill a vampire are all bullshit.
Right.
Because he just killed his mom with a bone. That wasn't on the list of shit you can kill your mom or kill vampires with.
Did they
say? He didn't stab her in the chest or head.
Right. That's true.
He stabbed her in her stomach.
So mom could still be running around in the sequels for all we know, you know?
No, we watched her evaporate.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Did they say that it had to be a certain type of steak? Or... I think he just said a steak, but he still doesn't hit her in the heart or the head, either one, so... Yeah, it's dumb. I hate whenever movies make like their own world with their own rules, and then they can't even stick to that shit. You know, like how can I get vested in something if I don't know how it works? You know.
Well, if you don't like not following the rules, wait till the next scene.
Oh yeah, this shit gets retarded fast.
Yeah, Blade comes into the room and he's yelling out, "Frost!"
Right.
And Quinn's like, "Oh, I got this. I got two good hands. I don't know which one to kill you with." And he runs over to Blade, and Blade uses like this cord thing and cuts his head off like in no time.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
And then the glasses, Blade's glasses, because Quinn's wearing them, fly up into the air. He catches them with his two fingers, and then like this like techno music starts in the background.
Right.
And then Blade just starts killing everybody in the room.
Right.
But with like 1-2 punch, they're dead.
Right.
Kick to the stomach, they're dead.
Yeah. He's not... Because he doesn't have his weapons or anything, so... You know, they shouldn't be dying. But whatever.
Yeah, they're all dying.
Right.
And evaporating.
Whatever. I wrote down that Jensen gets to fight her own little girl mini-boss.
Yeah, the blonde, Frost girl.
Yeah. I think it's funny in movies in the late 90s, because they're like... You know, if we have a female character that's supposed to like be effective at kicking ass and all that, we have to find a girl for her to fight. You know, like they did this in this, they did it in The Mummy. You know, let's find a girl for her to kick her ass. But yeah, she gets her own mini boss, and she winds up hitting her in the face with that mace, and her head pops.
Yeah, she sprays it right in her mouth.
Yeah, and then we get the Blade Frost sword fight. Which
sword fight.
Yeah, it's not impressive. Through a lot of this action and this supposed climax of the movie, I found myself really bored. Like I was just ready for this thing to be done, pretty much. You know. Well, I hate to say.
When I was watching, when he caught his glasses and he was getting ready to go on that killing spree, I was like, "Oh shit, it's about to go down." I was so disappointed with it.
Like, he doesn't do anything he hadn't been doing the entire rest of the movie, you know?
No, just 1-2 punch, kick.
Right. Except now he's killing them when they shouldn't be dying. But whatever.
Right.
Yeah. So, Frost has the La Magra powers. So he can...
He's the blood god.
Right. At one point, Blade, like, cuts him in half with the samurai sword, and, like, the shit just reattaches. He cuts off like his arm, and his arm just like automatically grows back immediately.
This is where that CGI is like apparently terrible.
Oh god, I've seen screensavers that look better than this. You know, really bad. So Frost is super fast, and Blade's sword doesn't do shit to him.
He just keeps stabbing him, and it doesn't do anything.
Right, it doesn't do shit to him. Long story short, I said he uses the EDTA to blow him up, basically. He finds it on the floor, all the little packets, and he winds up throwing them into his, like, guts.
He doesn't find it on the floor.
Oh, never mind.
It's stuck in a ledge.
Oh, that's what it is.
Which he then does some crazy move, which causes his sword to go into the crack, the same crack the stuff is stuck in.
Yeah.
And Frost is like, sweet move. And then the little hand protector, or cutter things pop out of the handle, which causes the EDA to fall down.
Ah, I got you.
So it's all part of the plan.
You could tell how much I was paying attention.
And then fucking Blade throws these auto injectors at Frost,
yeah,
like daggers, and they all stick perfectly into his body. He doesn't miss any of them.
Right.
We already saw in the movie earlier that he could dodge bullets when he wasn't the blood god.
Right. Now he's the blood god, can't do shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and fucking, so, I don't know, maybe he thinks nothing can hurt him, so he just walks into all these auto injectors, and then Blade gets one, looks at it, throws it in the air, does a spinning roundhouse kick,
kicks it into him.
Yeah, kicks it into fucking Frost's head, which
so
causes
dumb.
him to swell up and explode.
Oh god, that's pretty weak. But yeah.
But the movie's not over.
Oh no, yeah, we still got more to look forward to. So Jensen and Blade make their escape. He tells her that he wants a
they
better.
Just walk out. Everybody else is dead.
There's nothing to escape from. And he tells her he wants a better serum. And
says you can keep your cure.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a war going
on. Right.
If you want to help, you can make me a better serum.
What a great closing line. Not. The suit is black, not.
Well, it's not the closing line because then we go to Moscow.
Yeah, Moscow. Moscow. I like their mules. They're nice. Anyway, so we see where there's this vampire that he's attacking this woman. Then they're just out, and it's snowing, of course, because it's a movie and they're in Russia, so it always snows. And so Blade winds up attacking him. That's
well, not even. You don't even see that. You just see him like take a pose.
Right. Yeah.
Pulls the sword out.
Cut to the credits. And that's the movie. Oh man.
You're welcome.
Right. The things I do for you people. What was your take on Blade, Mike?
I don't know what my take is on this fucking movie. I liked it, and then I didn't.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, man.
Like, when Blade has his weapons, he's cool.
Yeah.
When he's just hand-to-hand fighting, he's not that cool.
Well, that was a problem I had with the last part of the movie between him and Frost. As I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm like, so we've established that one of the guys can't get hurt. So basically, I don't really care what Blade like does to this guy with his sword, you know, because you can't hurt him with it anyway, you know. So fast forward, you know. But yeah, I don't think it's aged well at all. But you know,
the CGI is trash, which I can forgive, because it is 20 years old. But it's so bad.
Well, keep in mind this was a year before The Matrix came out. And The Matrix looks so much better, you know, by comparison.
Like the effects with the blood.
Yeah.
I mean, I did that shit in like Adobe Paint when I was.
Oh yeah, right. Like so here with like fucking like Windows Paint.
Yeah. With the fucking spray paint can.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty weak.
It's really bad.
I don't think this movie holds up at all. More so than probably any movie we've watched in a long time. This one was a chore for me to get through for whatever reason. I just really didn't care. And I mean, it's kind of cool because there's a lot of people that have careers because of this movie. So go them. But overall, this thing was weak, dude. Really bad. And people were eating it up like crazy. People loved this movie back in the day. But
oh yeah, I know a lot of guys are like big Blade fans.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I'm not an anti-Blade guy.
I just don't like this
movie. The movie didn't hold up. Yeah, it didn't hold up.
Yeah. No, I agree. So, unless you really like Blade in the comic book and you haven't seen this, I don't know why you would be a Blade fan and not have seen this movie. But if that happens to be you, then watch it. Otherwise, I say skip it. But that's just me. Final thoughts? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, this shit was weak. I don't even know, because it's been so long since I've seen Blade 2. I don't know how they bring Whistler back, because his shit looked pretty fucking final to me. But I guess we'll find out whenever, like 2 years or whatever. So
yeah.
But Anyway, you watch anything good this week, Mike?
I watched some things. I don't know if you classify them as good or not.
Let's hear it.
Well, I watched 2 movies this weekend with the fam. I watched Ready Player One.
Oh, what would you think of that one?
I like it. It's fun. I don't think it's too far-fetched for what like is going to be a reality in the future.
Okay. Like with the virtual reality shit and all that?
The virtual reality stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Not
think
necessarily like the piles of like travel trailers.
Yeah. The living conditions may not be like that, but you know, I think people will be like really wrapped up in their virtual world. But and then the other movie I watched,
there we go,
was called Life of the Party.
Oh, I never saw that.
Don't waste your time.
Oh, okay. That's all I need to know.
It's a Melissa McCarthy movie.
Oh.
And the premise is that it's a mother who is getting divorced and decides that she's going to go back to graduate college. And it also happens to be her daughter's senior year in college.
Huh. That sounds awesome. So it's basically, remember the movie with Rodney Dangerfield? What was that? Back to School or whatever?
Back to School?
Yeah. It's the same thing.
But not funny.
Right. Yeah, the Rodney Dangerfield was funny. So
which sucks, man, because I like Melissa McCarthy and I wanted it to be funny. Nicole was really looking forward to it, and I guess she enjoyed it.
Right.
But I was watching it the whole time thinking, like, when's this going to get good?
Right. It's kind of too bad because I liked Melissa McCarthy. Like, I really enjoy movies like Identity Thief and Bridesmaids, for example, you know.
Bridesmaids is great.
Yeah. And she's great in it. But her shtick is, and I think it was whenever I saw the movie Tammy with her, which I didn't like that movie at all. I watched that and I was like, all she is doing is yelling, except it's not funny here because there's no jokes to go along with it. And then I was like, that's kind of all she does is yell, you know.
Well, in this movie, she doesn't do a lot of that.
Yeah.
She plays it like a sweet mom.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
That has like a midlife crisis.
See, I kind of felt that way with The Heat, though. It was like, it's the same thing. And then, like, don't get me started on that shitty Ghostbusters bullshit. The movie was pretty weak, so.
But, yeah, so that's what I watched. I revisited some Black Mirror episodes.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Black Mirror?
You know, it's funny that you say that because I, too, went through and revisited some Black Mirror episodes this week, so. I think great minds think alike, or maybe mediocre ones in this case. But
yeah, definitely mediocre ones. Do you recall the episode called Crocodile?
Which one is that?
Okay, so without giving away the whole plot to people who are listening that may want to watch it, it's the one with they have a little chip they can stick on your temple and they can see your memory.
Is that the one where the guy's wife like cheated on him, or is that a different one? Because I know that there's the one where they had the little implant like behind their ear, and they had the little.
This one's
they
like
could rewind
sticks on their temple, and they can use it for like investigation purposes.
Was that the one where they hit the dude at the very beginning
with the pizza delivery van thing?
Yeah. Was that the same one? Yeah, that's a great episode. Yeah,
it's a fucked up episode.
Yeah, it's crazy. You kind of feel like
Metalhead.
Yeah, the one with the little metal dog.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the one where the couple, they were in that dating service thing, and it said that it worked like, I really like that episode.
The name of the episode, I think, is called The DJ Must Die, or Kill the DJ.
Yeah, Kill the DJ. Yeah. It was great. I love it. Really good stuff. So
it's a really good show. For those who don't know about Black Mirror, you can watch episodes on standalone because they're not connected.
It's an anthology show. Yeah, kind of like Twilight Zone or something.
Right, but don't get your hopes up for happy endings.
It doesn't happen a lot. You'll get a couple here and there, but yeah. That's why I think I kind of like that Kill the DJ one, is because it did have an ending that you could call happy, you know? What's the... I watched the other one that was... crap. Oh, the one where the guy, it was like the second or third episode of the show, but the guy, they lived, it was the 15 million merits or whatever it was, where he like lived in the cube and he like rode the bike for, you know, all of his merits and shit. And
Yeah.
that was good. Yeah.
I
Also,
can't remember
this
what that one's called.
15 million merits, I think, is the name of it.
Oh, okay.
But this week I watched Clerks, the movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's been a while since I've watched any of my Kevin Smith, Jay and Silent Bob stuff, so might have to get into that. I also started watching this documentary, The Vietnam War, on Netflix. It's a Ken Burns documentary.
Okay.
I didn't make it very far, but so far it's really interesting. I didn't know a lot of the political stuff that like led up to it, you know, and so it kind of opened things up information wise for me. Of course, they try to take like a purely subjective, you know, stance on the thing. They don't really, you know, they just kind of lay the facts out there, you know, without providing their analysis of whether they thought it was good or bad, you know. So that's always refreshing.
Have you watched Amy?
Nope, haven't watched Amy.
It's on Netflix now.
What is Amy?
It's the documentary about Amy Winehouse.
Oh yeah. Me and the wife were just browsing through there, and we saw that, and she's like, "I bet that's really sad." Actually,
It's good.
it is. You've watched it?
Mm-hmm.
I always thought she was pretty awesome, and she was actually going to do a James Bond theme song right up until the point she died.
Dude,
So.
the way they filmed this or documented this, they did it really well.
Yeah.
They'll talk about like portions of her life,
Right.
and at the same time they'll play like a song.
Mm.
And while they're playing one of her songs, they'll put the lyrics on the screen,
Yeah.
and it's like mirroring what's going on in her life like perfectly.
I got you.
So, yeah, I was really moved by it. I really liked it. I've been
Is
wanting
it-
to see it. It just wasn't on anything for any platform that I could access.
Yeah. Well, I remember seeing the previews for it and stuff, actually, which I really don't even keep up with documentaries all that often. With that one, is it all like actual footage of her, or is it like reenactments?
No, it's all
sprinkled
actual
in?
footage.
Oh, okay. Good, because if you're doing a documentary and you're showing me reenactments of shit, like, well, it's not really a documentary anymore, is it? It's, you know, like a true crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how the fuck do you know that's how it happened?
Right. Yeah. So.
How do you know that person said that thing standing right there?
Right. Exactly.
You don't.
Mm-mm. Nope.
They did that with fucking, was it called Bleach? Bleached?
So yeah.
The Kurt Cobain?
Yeah. I think that is accurate.
They did a bunch of reenactments in that.
But it was like produced
What?
by Courtney Love and all that shit.
I can't remember who. I don't think she produced it.
I think she did. I might
She
be
might
wrong.
have.
Yeah. She's trying to make a buck off of that dude. Has been for 20 years, so. But anyway, not here to talk about Courtney Love. So Mike,
Yes.
as we talked about, this movie was #1 for 2 weeks. And I had the last pick whenever I went with Jarhead. So what say you?
So this movie gave me a craving for something.
Alrighty. I'm excited to hear
Blade
it.
gave me a craving for a good vampire movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
So this week, we're going to be watching Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, there you go. That's a great movie. I really like that.
And it only came out 4 years before Blade.
Oh, okay. We all know your opinion on Tom Cruise. So, you know.
He's awesome.
Yeah. He doesn't do his usual shtick in this, though. So it's kind of a different role for him. So.
Very artistic role, considering
Yeah.
like what he normally does.
For-
and you
for
get Brad
him,
Pitt.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Love Brad Pitt. You get to see him with some gnarly long hair.
So you get yourself a man sandwich.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Get a very young Kristen Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst was in it. We get old gal from she's in what is it, Westworld, and she was in Mission Impossible 2, but that's Thandie Newton, so she shows up in this movie as well, which is awesome.
She's in Westworld?
Yeah, she's the one that's the mama san or whatever, the prostitute at the brothel that like makes her escape
the English
or whatever.
chick?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, If you guys want to get in contact with us, you could do so by emailing us at cheesymovie@yahoo.com. Our Twitter page, Twitter feed, whatever you call the thing, because I never use it, is Casino Royale WCH. You can look us up on Facebook, Casino Royale with Cheese, all separate words. Find us on iTunes, Casino Royale W Cheese, all one word. YouTube, same deal, Casino Royale W Cheese. And Instagram, Casino Royale W Cheese, all one word as well. And I am looking forward to next week, and I hope that you all join us, and we will see you then.
Bye.
I'll be back.